pleasure to come to the meeting. So let's start by introducing ourselves. Let's turn off our cell phones. And while we're doing that, I'll introduce to everybody Carl Cannon, who you all know. And I asked Carl to join the panel after we were having conversations about expanding or how we were going to go forward. I stopped after Carl because then John showed up from Atlanta, and we needed to hear all that before we expanded further. So, Carl, we're glad you're here. It's a great community. Still, and Bill, why don't you start? Right now, Charlie Appleby was already scheduled to be out of town, but he is planning to continue. Bob Miller had an emergency meeting this morning that he just don't take all day, so he also was to continue. So I think we're all tentatively aboard as we talk about structure and how and when the process do to go forward. I'll talk about that some more in a minute. I saw that the mayor had come in. Mayor Brown, we're glad to have you here, and we're getting started, and we'd love to have you tell us what you would like to tell us. Yes. Oh,
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the Jacksonville Retirement Task Force. Good afternoon. It's a privilege to be here today for this renewal of the task force work. Thank you for your service to our community. You have selfishly agreed to examine the most critical financial issue facing Jacksonville. The number tells the story of this financial challenge. Over the last 10 years, our city has experienced unsustainable increases at the police and fire pension fund. A decade ago, the city contributed to the police and fire pension fund was less than $10 million. This year, it is $148 million, nearly 16% of the proposed budget. A decade ago, the police and fire pension fund had an unfunded liability of just under $500 million. Today, that unfunded liability has grown to more than $1.5 billion. All three major rating agencies cite retirement costs as the threat to our financial future. That's why retirement reform has been such a critical priority for my administration. The agreement we reached would have lowered city pension costs by $1.2 billion over 30 years, including $45 million next year and $100 million over the next 5 years. Our agreement included some of the most significant benefit concessions in the recent history of the state of Florida. The agreement would have seen the funded status of the plan increase from 38% to 71%. It would have lowered the pension costs 71% more than the last retirement reform agreement that was brought before the City Council in 2011. Fitch Ratings called the proposed reform agreement a positive that would stabilize the city's pension burden over the long run. I was looking forward to your review of our agreement. However, 9 city council members fought vehemently to give you and their own finance committee the time needed for a comprehensive review, but their efforts fell short. Despite that action, I remain hopeful that we will achieve sustainable retirement reform solution that is fair to both the taxpayers and city employees. We have to act now. Time is short. Fitch Ratings reported that delay in implementing retirement reform could impact our city's credit rating. Your work is crucial to the achievement of retirement reform, which is so important. The sooner we act, the better. When I asked Bill Shy to lead this effort, I told him to fully expect the task force provide an independent review of the retirement reform. All of you are smart servant leaders whose only goal is the betterment of our city. As you prepare to restart the work of the Retirement Force Task Force, I would like to offer 2 suggestions on the path forward. First, please be mindful that your work does not occur in a vacuum. At the City of Jacksonville, we have operated under certain legal parameters. Florida law does not allow us to change the benefits of former City Jacksonville employees who've already retired. It does not allow us to take any pension benefits that current city employees have already earned. For the last 12 years, the city has provided pension benefits to police and fire employees through an agreement with the Police and Fire Pension Fund that does not expire until September 30th, 2030. That agreement is currently the subject of litigation in the federal court. Second, I urge you to be mindful of the progress that has already been made. As I said earlier, our retirement reform agreement included some of the most significant benefit concessions in the recent history of the state of Florida. The Florida Times-Union recently reported that our agreement was much more aggressive from a benefit reform standpoint than either the Florida retirement system or various Florida cities. Rather than reverse the progress we have already made, I encourage you to build on that progress. Focus on the one issue that united those people who have expressed concerns about the agreement: the unfunded liability. Our agreement would have seen the funded status for the Police and Fire Pension Fund increase from 38% to 71% between now and its expiration in 2030. That would have been a major improvement, but I firmly believe we can find ways to build on the progress we have already made and accelerate the payment of unfunded liability. You may hear some people suggest that we pay down the unfunded liability more quickly through a tax increase. With all due respect, I do not agree. Raising taxes is the wrong answer to this challenge. I oppose a tax increase to pay down the unfunded liability. The economy is too fragile to increase burdens on homeowners and businesses at this time would be very challenging. This is a time when we should make it easier for families to invest and easier for small business and entrepreneurs to create jobs. Higher taxes would make it harder. And just last week, we were named the #1 city in the country for foreclosures. So the economy is still struggling. It's tough out there, and I believe higher taxes would make it harder. We have other better tools at our disposal to pay down the unfunded liability more quickly. My staff and I look forward to working with you throughout this process to help identify and review some of those opportunities. Again, I thank you for your generous service to our community. I appreciate you for your commitment and conviction on making sure that we have an opportunity to work together to really solve this problem once and for all, sooner rather than later, to make sure that the good citizens of our city know that we all love this city, we care about this city, and this issue is bigger than all of us. It's about our kids and our grandkids. It's about their hopes, dreams, and aspirations. It's about making sure we don't kick the can down the road and make the tough decision and do what's right for everyone in this city, creating opportunity for all. This is the most significant challenge that we're facing right now in our city. And I believe with all my heart that we have the ability to solve this problem once and for all. I really believe that. And Mr. Chairman, I appreciate you and the committee for stepping up to the plate, willing to take on this tough issue, to do what's right. And each and every one of you have served in our city in many roles. And we have a tremendous opportunity to not only show the city and the state of Florida, but the country, that we have the ability to work together and that there are no challenges that we cannot solve when we work together. When we work together, good things happen. We can be the model for the country to make it work for everyone. Thank you, and God bless you for your commitment for this service. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman and the committee.
Well, the mayor is an old friend to many of us. He is very forward-thinking, and you've heard he put this major problem to bed in many ways as well. And at the same time, another good friend is Council President Golfer, and he wants those same things. And despite some little ruffles in the road, we are all in this together. And I know President Golfer will share some of his insights and hopes also. Bill, we're just so glad you're here today.
Well, thank you, Chairman Chai. It was very important for me to come before this body and offer my sincere appreciation. I don't have any prepared thoughts, but I will share some randomly about the process and where we are and where we've been and where I hope to see us go. I tend to concur with the mayor that this is something that needs a significant and thorough and long-term solution. I think that while we differ on our opinion about what was proposed, and I thank the mayor and the administration for advancing a proposal which we reviewed, and of course you know how we acted on it. There was a concern by a number of us that it didn't go far enough, and we think that if we're going to solve the thing, we've got to go the full limit. I was very impressed. Chairman Chai sent me these files on what Atlanta did, the similar type group, and it was very, very impressive. And I think we need the same kind of thorough investigation and detailed study that they did, because they came up with a number of options, a number of views that we might take. And I would submit to you that it is a process that may take a while, but very important that it be thorough and that we get resolution to it. I am so very appreciative that you all have opted to continue this process, because what you provide for us as an elected body is an opinion or opinions or direction from a group of community leaders and people that have no axe to grind, that have no skin in the game other than just being citizens that want to do the right thing and see the city do the right thing and come up with a positive and long-term solution. So I applaud you all for that, and anything that we can do to help you in that regard. I can tell you from a personal standpoint, the easiest thing for me to have done, and the evening we took a vote, I thought about it, the easiest thing for me to do would have been to vote the way that the administration wanted to go with the proposal. But in my heart, I felt like that it wasn't bringing final resolution to what I deemed to be one of our most significant problems as a community. So the thing that we have got to do is we've got to resolve it once and for all. It's going to take a community effort. I'm available. I'm sure that any council resources are available to you all to hopefully get this thing resolved and finalized, and to the betterment of not only the community as a whole, but the employees that are directly affected by it. So again, thank you all for continuing this. I think it's extremely important that you continue the process, review it, and then let us know what your thoughts, your final thoughts are on how we might come to final resolution and complete resolution. It's an 800-pound gorilla, and it's in the room, and it's just not going away. So again, thanks.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. Just to get us started, I've done a lot of thinking, and there's been a lot of conversation the last few weeks about whether we should go forward, who should go forward, how we should go forward, whether we needed to expand, whether any of us wanted to throw in the towel or what. So I'm just grateful that each of y'all are here today to see where we go. Both the mayor and President Golfer thank us for agreeing to go forward, but I don't think there's been an agreement to do that yet. We just need to hear how we're going to go forward. Well, when Chris Hand and I were talking about how do we put this together so that we can have the support of the city council and the support of the mayor, and I think the support of the town's union really order, so that we get some sense that we're going to take a fully independent, thorough was one word, independent. How do we do that? Well, we John, who we'll hear from in a little bit, we've corresponded and communicated a number of times, and there's some great ideas that experiences from the Atlanta task force, some of which we may or may not want to do, others we may. And we'll hear that as we'll discuss that after that presentation today. But what I'd like you all to be thinking about as we go through this afternoon, we'll hear a presentation on where we are legislatively and legally. We're going to have a presentation from John King at the pension, police car pension board. Last time we heard what the city's position was about the 30-year agreement, and now we'll hear what the pension board's position is. Not the total position, but the position that we'll understand, because this 30-year agreement is a real legal construct of constraint within the together. That's very important. We have lots of studies ahead of time. We've got the JCCI study.